I loved when I ran my first show, she would always pay me in cash and I would just hand it to the comics. So it's like
That's the best way to do
It's
it.
the
Yeah.
best feeling to just hand comics a handful of cash. It's
Yeah.
like
To give some creepy
yeah.
little fuckers some beer and smokes
Just
money,
to
dude.
know that
Oh.
like on their ride home when they're eating that shame Taco Bell that
Yeah.
I helped.
Yeah.
You know?
They said, "Hey, are we getting paid cash tonight? Because the Shamrock Shake is back."
Yeah. When they ordered their Big Mac with extra mayonnaise, extra large fry, and their Diet Coke.
Can I have your drink tickets? Hey, you don't. Hey, you don't drink. Can I have your drink tickets?
Hey, you don't
Yes,
drink.
you
Can I have
can. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny to me. Comics are like,
I
I
also
love this art. This is my art. Like,
yeah,
yeah, what about your house? You like your house?
love it.
How's your house? What about your car?
Bananas.
This is my dream.
Dude, we're making art out here. It's like, I don't know. You just call a guy a faggot for 10 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know if that's art. Maybe.
Oh,
Who am I to say?
that's what I was saying all day yesterday. It's the silence in between the laughs.
Yeah, we
that
do
the real
jazz stand
art
up comedy.
happens.
It's the jokes we don't tell.
It's the jokes you don't hear.
Yeah,
That's where the art
it's
is.
in between
That's where it happens.
jazz stand up, dude. It's like the notes we don't play.
It's the jokes we don't write down.
Oh, you didn't like that one?
Oh.
You didn't like that?
Don't have a lot of chainsaw users in here. Huh?
Oh, God. Is anybody on the apps?
Oh, just me?
Just me?
Just me? Okay, you cowards.
Yes, everyone on the fucking planet's on the apps. Just tell your joke about it. Don't have to.
Yeah.
Asking for consent in regular life is great, but in each setup, you don't need to get permission.
Yeah. Clap if you have a phone.
Yeah.
What? Why?
You don't have to. You just, if you're funny enough, it'll happen, you know?
Yeah. Forcing it.
I did used to ask people if anyone's done math, but I knew nobody would
Yeah, that's a funny thing to
be like,
ask.
me.
It's like a shameful thing for people to admit to in the middle of their peers.
And there'd always be one guy goofing around. Like, I've done it. Like, no,
Every time I've seen you do that, there's always one guy that's like, yeah, it's fun. I'm like, yeah, it'll ruin your fucking life. Like, oh, it's so fun.
When I did those shows last weekend, the first show a guy was shouting out, I'll buy you a bag.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second show, I forgot what it was. Something really inappropriate.
During the one I didn't go to.
The one you didn't go
I
to.
remember the first one, that guy screaming, I'll buy you a bag.
I'll buy you a bag, bro. And I was like, oh no, my wife's here, we can't. And then I winked at him and it got a laugh. And I was like, okay, cool, we can move on.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll buy her one too. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
They want to be part of it so bad, but they don't want to
so
do any of the work.
He was so drunk, his girlfriend made him leave the showroom and he came up to us in the bar and was like, hey, bro. It's like, you guys are so fucking funny. He's like, my wife kicked me out for not stopping talking.
She was not happy.
No, she's furious.
That whole show, I watched the audience.
Yeah,
you know,
you like to do that.
I love watching the audience, and she was like progressively getting more annoyed with him because he kept yelling.
Who pre-games a comedy show? It's just crazy. It's crazy to show up hammered.
A fucking flat bill. Is that he had a flat bill hat?
He was wearing a Scottie Pippen Bulls jersey, which is dope as fuck.
He looked like every middle school boy that I ever. He was just like every middle school boy in the 90s.
Yeah, there's something scary about perfectly matching clothes like that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no. Any of my friends who match their hat to their shirt to their pants to their fucking shoes, it's like, oh, they're up to something.
Yeah,
dude.
He was, and he had the chain.
He really does have a free bag for me.
Yeah. So. Oh, he legit. He had some solid neck tattoos, and
yeah, dude.
His girlfriend was so.
If you can match your hat to your neck tattoo. That's impressive.
That's how you make an outfit.
Yeah. You gotta get like one on every color. I don't know.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah. Is it? Are we doing it?
Are we doing
Do we
it?
get the thumbs up?
Are you ready?
He never gave us a thumbs up. Oh, he did. Okay.
He did. We got the thumbs
Shit.
up.
This is all stuff I never would.
Okay.
Hang on. Oh wait, no, that's if you want a clip.
That's if you want a
No.
clip. You're driving this train.
Sponsored by Mug Root Beer.
The Dana Carvey.
Dana. Oh, that's a good clip. It's just gonna suck for me for the next.
This is gonna suck. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. But we said we were gonna talk about it. So.
Yeah, this will be this will be our most viewed. Or least.
Or least, yeah.
Okay, cool. So sometime in Austin, I had just all my teeth just started hurting. Like
Mm-hmm.
just all my teeth started hurting, and I had to have emergency dental surgery, and I guess there's some funny stuff about this. So I knew from your previous relationships that you had money troubles. Not like you didn't have money, but I don't want to get into like other people's business, but like
Yeah.
there's just problems with people spending your money, right?
I've been in many relationships where I pay for everything.
You've been with other people? No, yeah. So you've had to pay for everything, right?
Yeah.
So I was trying to
Yeah.
build.
Not that I was taken advantage of, but it was just kind of like that's how it happened. Like,
Yeah. So I was trying to be different from that. And I paid my share of rent and bills, and I got you on my phone bill. Blah blah blah. Like we figured it out to where it's like fair, and we're still doing that.
We're still doing that.
We're still doing that. But when it comes to emergency dental surgery, I just don't have the money. Even if it happened today, I don't have the money. And I was at a dentist, and they told me how much it was going to be, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna, my jaw's gonna fall off because there's nothing I can do about it. And I called you, and I was like, hey, it's $1,500.
Yeah.
And you were like, you can put it on my credit card.
Mm-hmm.
So that speaks to how much you love me. So I had this emergency dental surgery, and it got better, and then it went away, and then it came back, and I had to have it again. And I spent 8 hours in a chair with a dude. I had like 2 root canals and like 4 extractions.
It was crazy. So much stuff.
It was so much stuff, and it was like 8 hours of dental surgery. And when he was done, he was like, "Hey, man, bring your headphones next time. Listen to a podcast. We're boring." And I didn't even. And I had my AirPods with me. I didn't even think that I could be listening to something. I literally was just listening to him like ask for stuff from his assistant. Like,
it took a really long time.
It was so fucking miserable, but like I haven't had any problems since. It was so necessary.
Yeah.
And
coincidentally, the only thing I have on that credit card is your dental surgery and my cat's diabetes.
Cat emergency kitten diabetes.
My emergency cat surgery. That's the only 2 things that have ever been on that card, or like me saving things that I love.
Yes, and yeah, and we'll need it again.
I'm sure.
We'll need
Yeah,
it again.
I'm still paying for that cat. He passed 2 years ago.
Yeah, almost 3.
Yeah, I had him for another like 3 years though. After paying for that.
So both decisions you made were great.
Yeah,
It's just
it's took me a long time to realize that that's what money's for.
What did you think it was for?
I grew up with such financial insecurity that I was just like, I have to have this amount of money, or something crazy could happen and I could just be destitute. So
You always use that word.
You'll
never be destitute.
I will be destitute.
You will never be destitute.
I could be destitute though, but
no.
So I always had this like magic number in my head that I needed in my savings account, or I needed in credit, or needed, and then so when emergencies would happen, I would flip shit because I had to like take all that money out of there.
Yeah.
But it's like slowly dawning on me, like that's why you have the money.
That's why you have money. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can always build it back up, and money comes and money goes, and that's it. Like there's no.
And
it's not real.
have the exact opposite philosophy. Let's get it gone. Let's treat this life like the fucking rental car it is, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
Well,
yeah.
and I got really
so
weird.
Together we work out great.
Together
we can be spontaneous and safe.
Right.
Yes.
And Ian's very good at small purchases every month, like a subscription or whatever.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't like that. I'd rather pay it all at once.
Yeah. So I would pay my car insurance month to month, and she will pay for the whole year. So that's the difference between us. So
it makes me crazy.
Yeah.
I hate the little stuff.
Fun dad? Not fun dad.
Yeah, but when you need emergency surgery,
that's what. And nothing
all
about that
was fun.
And
all of a sudden,
Mean
Mom is fun.
Yeah, Mean Mom's great. Gotta have Mean Mom. Yeah. And anyways, so after the second surgery, they put me on antibiotics, and for probably, God, I don't know, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, I was getting fevers every single night at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And I was just
crazy fevers,
like scheduled fevers every single night.
His whole body would be on fire, and I would like run and get like bags of like frozen peas and stuff and like put them on his body because he was, and they would just melt on his body. It was crazy.
It was so crazy.
It was
and it
such
happened
a weird...
every night. I had no energy.
Yeah.
I would just fall asleep. I could just fall asleep whenever, which is not
it's
I'm
crazy.
never.
He
I'm
never
never.
sleeps.
That's not true. I sleep, but I have to take like
You have to.
melatonin
It's a
and
whole like thing.
I have to conk myself in the head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a routine.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for me to get to sleep. It's gotten better, but and I was shitting my brains out like every 2 hours, just like absolutely fucking horrifying.
It was horrifying. Like
The
it was
worst looking product I've ever seen come out of my butt. Like not the right color, the
No.
worst smell ever.
the worst smell. And
this
we're
is
we're in this shitty little
it's in
apartment
the 250 square foot fucking
that
yeah.
I mean, and the bathroom just captured any
Yeah.
humidity or any heat. Like there was no like ventilation or anything.
It was a time capsule for
It
stank.
was the worst horrific smells.
And it
would
like
not you
go
go
away.
back and forth between like, oh my God, this smells so horrible, I can't stand it, and like, oh, you're really sick, I need to take care of you.
I pretty much just stayed in that last one. I was like, something is very wrong with me.
Yeah, it was scary. Like
I took probiotics.
and he lost so much weight. Like
yeah.
so much weight. You were like your cheeks were sunken in.
When I finally saw a specialist, I think I weighed 210 pounds.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my friends that. And they're like, oh, dude, way to go. Congrats. I'm like, no. I didn't. And it happened in like 6 weeks. And I could, towards the end, I realized I could eat whatever I wanted. It didn't matter. I would just eat like snacks and candy, shit my brains out. Anyways, this went on for fucking ever. And Mandy went to a comedy festival. And so I'm gonna make a couple things real clear. Both, I can't get both. I did not relapse because I was in a lot of pain. That's not a real thing. You can stay sober through anything, right? So what I did was I took my eye off the ball. I became less active in the recovery community. And I just reached a place where the powerlessness of it all took over. So I just want to be clear that I'm not blaming my relapse on being really sick. It certainly didn't fucking help.
Yeah.
But it kept me in bed, and I stopped. I was supposed to meet with a sponsee that night, and I was like, I'm not going to meet with him. And then I got a bag of meth, and I did the bag of meth, and Mandy was in Houston?
Plano.
Well, this is the first one.
Oh, the first one.
Paris, Texas?
Yeah, maybe Tower City. Is that right?
You might have been at Tower City. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were both at festivals. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about a second one here in a bit. No, you were doing those shows with what's his nuts?
Corey.
You were doing those shows with Corey. You were
in at Secret Group.
No. I was good for that one. It was that other guy. You did like 3 brewery shows with him in Texas. Those weird like Heron Entertainment.
Bromwell.
You were with Bromwell. You were with Alan Bromwell.
Alan Bromwell. Those shows.
Shout out to guy I've never met.
Those shows were interesting. Anyways.
So you were very far away.
Yeah, because those shows I didn't stay the night or anything, but I remember. Okay, it's all coming back. So
there
I
you
had
go.
to
Yeah,
go.
you take over for a bit.
I drove out to a winery in bumfuck Texas. Like it was in the middle of nowhere.
I want to say it was not Amarillo.
It was somewhere, and it was outside. It was an outdoor show in Texas. It was so hot. And it was fun, but it was like, I don't know. I just had a weird feeling. And then I remember driving home and you just weren't answering the phone. Like you just weren't answering the phone at all.
Which, for the record, I always answer the phone.
Yeah.
Unless I'm at work.
Yeah. So I remember calling. I remember I was starving and because I hadn't ate anything because I don't like eating before shows because I don't like digesting on stage. And I went to, what's Whataburger. I went to Whataburger and I got a bunch of food.
Yes.
And while I was waiting for my food, because Whataburger takes forever, you still hadn't called me back. And I was like, everything's fine. I honestly thought you were probably just playing your guitar or something. I didn't think anything until probably like the first 5 minutes in the Whataburger line. And then I was like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad. I was like, this is bad. And I just started panicking and I started calling you over and over and over and you just weren't.
You called me a lot.
I called you over and over and over and I left messages over and over and over. And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
And the thing that like is crazy about you, well, I guess with anybody with relapse is you're so caring and you love me so much and you care about me so much until then. And then you care about you and that's it. You don't care about anybody else. And I knew I was like, it kind of like hurt my feelings in a way because I was like, he knows I'm driving back from this random place in Texas.
Yeah.
You know, it's like anything could happen. and you wouldn't be there for me. Like you would be a complete like, and I didn't know anybody in Texas. I didn't really have any friends at that point. So I was like, all right, here it is. Like
Yeah.
my life's over. Like everything I knew.
Those are my thoughts too. I was like,
Like-
well, my life's over.
Yeah, I was like, everything I know to be true is not
Yeah.
anymore.
Because I
So-
almost always take a post-show phone call to hear how it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, yeah, and I couldn't. I was stuck like Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't move. And yeah, I knew I would hate talking about this.
Yeah.
My belly hurts.
It's,
My belly hurts right now.
it's not fun.
It's not fun. But it
No.
happened. And so when you were gone, I was like, I'm gonna lock the deadbolt. Because we both had a key to the handle, but the deadbolt nobody had a key to. And I consider this a God moment because I got up to lock it and thought that I did, but I didn't. So you came running in the house, turned on the lights, and you were just like, "Oh my God, you're high," and you're like, "You have to leave right now." And I was like, "Oh."
I was like, you just have to leave.
Yeah, and I was so fucking high, and like, it took me back to where like the drugs were working. I was like, "Oh fuck." So, I was too afraid to drive. So I sat in my car outside until the sun came up. And then I came in and took a shower and then I left.
Yeah. And I let you come in and take a shower.
Yeah. You thought I was going to work.
Yeah.
But I did not go to work for like a couple days.
Yeah. I figured anything you were telling me at that point was a lie. So I was just like, yeah, you can shower and then go do whatever the fuck you're going to do. But you can't be here.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And I had nowhere to go. I just
Yeah.
went and laid in a hotel bed
Yeah.
until you let me come home. And then I slept on the floor for a couple nights.
Yeah. You slept on the floor for a while.
Yeah. I slept on the floor. And then.
And with that one, like you didn't, I don't know, there wasn't a lot of like reach out from, I don't know, other people. And it seemed a little bit like you were battling it by yourself and you weren't.
Yeah, so I still did my morning routine falsely and texted a bunch of people, the spiritual stones and all that.
Yeah.
So nobody knew. And then I think like the first, I get them confused sometimes. To me, it's like one big moment. And I remember I came home from a hotel and you deemed me normal enough.
Mm-hmm.
You deemed me normal enough to be inside. And that's when I told all my friends and I started crying. And yeah, and it just sucked. And so I don't want to make light of hurting you, but from my perspective, right outside of that, the worst thing was you can feel my pain, can't you? Can you feel our pain? Dog? Right outside of that was I probably had like 4 sponsees at the time
Yeah.
who loved me. And I had to tell them that I couldn't sponsor them anymore. And it was soul crushing. And I went to 2 meetings that night and I was just crying and everyone was staring at me. And like a common thing in a meeting is to think people are staring at you, but they're not. But they really were that night because I was known in that community for being a guy who's doing well.
Yeah.
And I just looked like fucking dog shit. And I think my buddy Chris, I think I stayed with him for a little bit.
You stayed with Chris for a week because I think you were.
He would have never let me stay for a week.
You did. You stayed for like 4 days.
It was a few nights, yeah.
That was a good chunk of the week.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel comfortable with you coming back.
Yeah. And then I came back and like, I didn't get serious enough about it again.
Your whole face changes. Like you're a completely different person. So it's you're not who you are anymore. And yeah.
It's something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's evil.
I remember you were
It's
talking
evil.
to me. I remember you were talking to me and I just could not talk.
It's absolute.
I was so fucking
It's
lit
absolute
up.
evil. It's
I was
absolute.
so lit up that I could not process what was happening. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I can't leave though. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm so afraid to go outside.
Well, and like, I mean, as like, I love you and I know you would never do anything to hurt me, but when you're under the influence, you're a big fucking dude and I'm not trying to have you bonking around everywhere. And
Yeah.
just not.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's
I
scary.
would never hurt you though.
I know that, but you don't know that when
Not
you're fucked up.
physically
Not
anyways.
on accident.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
I mean, like, your freaking meatballs flying around in bed fucking.
I know.
Like, I don't know. I don't
You burned the sheets.
I did burn the sheets. Yeah, I got rid of the sheets. I didn't burn them, but I
You
got
were
rid of
like, I
them.
can't have these relapse sheets.
No, he's
So
just doing meth and no. Mm-mm.
I know. And
No.
then life got normal for a bit.
I think that, yeah, life did get normal for a bit, but I also think too that like people that go through like a relapse or whatever, I I've gone through addiction with my family, and you can't help.
Yeah.
Like you have like, so it's like, get away. I can't be around you when you're like this, and that I can't have a relationship with you like this. There's
Yeah.
like there's no recreational meth use in our relationship. Like, it just can't
No.
happen.
I know it.
Yeah,
I know it. It super sucked.
it
And
sucked.
yeah. And then there's just no funny in there.
Mm-mm.
There's no funny in there. I did think I was having a heart attack and call an ambulance while you're sleeping and went to the hospital, and
Oh, that's a whole nother. That was the first one?
that was the first one, yeah.
Yeah, because I was sleeping, so I had stayed up all night crying, and
When you came home from that next show with Alan, you went straight to bed, and
Yeah.
I'd like ordered pizza, and I was like trying to like make a pizza offering.
Yeah.
And I was like, how are the shows? And you didn't even look at me, and you're like, they're fine, and you turned off all the lights and went to bed, and I was like,
Yeah. When I'm upset, I shut off.
yeah.
I shut off. I don't want to talk to you. I don't. You know what you did. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
we can sit here and talk about it, and you can try to make me feel better, but like, you know what you did. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not that bitch that's gonna sit there and let you fucking lie to my face, which is what you were gonna do. You know, I'm like, I'm not gonna let you. No.
Yeah.
Like, we're not gonna sit here and have this whole like, it's only to make you feel better. I'm not gonna let you feel better. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that though, and I assumed that you needed to take a shower and go to work or whatever, but you were in the hospital all night or something.
So the next night you thought I'd gone to work because I wasn't there when you woke up.
Yeah,
But I was at the hospital.
because an ambulance came to the house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I slept through all of it.
And I've been to the hospital for fake heart attacks probably 3-4 times in my life. And they were like, all they do is calm you down and send you home.
Yeah.
So they just called me down and sent me home. And yeah, and I'd been to that hospital a lot because when I was shitting my brains out, I would go to the emergency room and they wouldn't be able to help me. They had no clue what was going on with me. So after I relapsed, I still, believe it or not, meth did not solve whatever problem was in my body.
Weird.
Yeah, I thought it would.
It's crazy that
So
you
I
didn't feel better after
I
putting
still
poison
felt
in there.
like I felt like shit times 2, but I didn't hit the ground too hard with meth. So like it took a few days to like kind of.
It was what, like 3 days, 2 days?
It was a couple days. I wasn't doing meth the whole time.
Yeah.
But that went away, and then I was like, oh, I still have this regular fucking illness. Like, it was still there, so I was still shitting my brains out. And then I just felt so bad because you were in such an awful, awful place, and I could not take care of myself.
Yeah.
Like, I could go to work, and then by like 2:00 I was drained, and I would go home and go to sleep, and I was like, wasn't producing my shows anymore. I was barely getting to meetings because like I just had to go to the bathroom like all the time.
Yeah.
And then I saw a specialist, and he gave me steroids and like oh my god, that was my birthday. I couldn't. My health insurance didn't start till my birthday, so I had to wait another month. I finally saw a specialist, and they just put me on steroids because we were about to go on the road. And oh my god,
we went on the road for like a month.
Oh my god, did that feel so good? The first steroid I took brought me back to normal, and I don't know what or why, but it was like, oh my god, I'm back in life. And like, but then those get weird. Then you're taking steroids every day, and I'm a drug addict, so I'm taking more than the recommended dose. I'm taking them on an empty stomach, which I guess is a really bad thing to do.
Yeah.
I didn't find that out till the most recent.
And
doctor.
I remember talking to my mom, and
she
my
was
mom
like,
was,
ugh.
yeah, my mom's like, oh, be careful with those; they'll make you crazy.
But I was so fucking afraid to feel like that again that I was like, I'm taking these.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was the first one. And then we went to Wisconsin for a comedy festival. We did some shows in Chicago. My dad's remembrance thing that finally happened 3 years later happened. Then we went to North Carolina for North Carolina Comedy Festival, and I met your family for the first time, and we did all that. We drove from Texas to Wisconsin to North Carolina back to Texas. And when we got back, your car was covered in like this weird shellac. You were so fucking angry. You hated the experience I wanted you to have in Austin. I could not provide.
I
just couldn't provide it. And I'm sorry. And I've made amends to you twice.
You
now,
have.
I'm
You
so
have.
sorry.
And like, I will talk shit about Austin just because I had a bad experience. I don't think Austin's a bad place.
No,
I don't think the people in Austin are bad.
Yeah.
But we just had a lot of ups and downs and lefts and rights in Austin.
Yeah.
And Austin as a place, it's hot and it sucks.
It's so hot.
It's so fucking hot. And it's just not.
It doesn't provide a lot of comfort.
No,
you never feel comfortable.
It's just oppressive. Like, you can't get away from it. Like, and it was so hot.
So hot.
And yeah, it was near your birthday, so it was just so miserably hot.
Yeah, August and September in Austin. Oh.
And the trees put bug.
There was this weird thing that happens like every 3 or 4 years. I can't remember the name of the bug, but they all just excrete this liquid.
Yeah, and it's
and
sticky.
Mandy's car was parked under this tree it was in our parking lot yard, and our backyard was all concrete. I don't know why.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It used to be concrete. I used to be a parking lot, I guess. I don't know.
No.
And we were gone long enough that enough of those bugs were in that tree that your car was covered
I could barely open
hardened...
the door. It was like sticky trying to open the door.
So we had our air conditioner off while we were gone because we were gone for fucking 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got back, we turned on the air and then took your car to the car wash.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just so fucking angry.
So angry. We'd just been traveling for a month.
We just driven for so long. And
and your car blew up.
In Waco, my car overheated. Go ahead.
So we're driving and his car is overheating. Like, I look over and I'm like, holy shit. And we're both of us are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I'm like, turn on your heat right away. Because
Yeah.
I've driven shitty cars my whole life. So I'm like, I know, turn on the heat, open the windows, whatever.
Yeah.
So he turns on the heat, open the windows, and then we pull off to the side of some fucking...
It was the city mechanic.
Yeah.
We happened to pull into a mechanic
government mechanic place.
Yeah, municipal mechanics.
And then he opens the hood, and I'm like, to be sure, he's not going to open that thing that says don't open it when it's hot.
I immediately opened my radiator.
Immediately he opens the radiator, which like part of me was, and it shot out everywhere, which like part of me was like, oh my God, that was so cool. I've always wanted to see someone do that. But like, it was fucking scary. And then I'm like, oh my God, are you burnt? And he's like, no. And he's just wiping off like
I got
radiator fluid or whatever.
Oh, it was so hot. And the mechanic was next to me and he's like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, well, I didn't fucking know, dude. I've been driving since fucking Alabama, dude. I've been driving since Mississippi. Leave me the fuck alone. It was so intense that like my adrenaline turned on. I saw it in slow motion. It was so scary.
I saw it through the crack because he had the hood open. So I saw it through the crack and whatever. And I was like, to be sure, he's not going to open that. That's crazy. And yeah,
I did.
It literally says on it to not open it if the car's hot, and that car was overheating.
I know now. Okay. I know. I fucking know. I've done two things you've always wanted to see. One is that, and one time I put metal in the microwave on accident.
Oh, yeah.
I put a Pop-Tart in the wrapper.
Put a Pop-Tart in the wrapper in the microwave and turned it on.
That was in Trinidad?
In Trinidad. I was like, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, I didn't know you couldn't do that.
No, I didn't know it was made of that material. I swore in my lifetime I'd put a Pop-Tart in the wrapper in the microwave. Man, anytime we traveled, I was always so burnt out and stressed out from driving.
Yeah, then you would do some crazy
when we stopped in Mississippi and that homeless guy was in my window, that was the longest I drove. I drove from North Carolina to Mississippi, right?
Yeah, because you didn't want me to drive.
My car is just wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we pulled up to this hotel in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, capital of it. No water. It was when they had no water. I don't know if they do now.
Their water was bad.
And this homeless guy came up to my window. It's the second we stopped from I've probably been driving for 14 hours.
We were so tired.
So tired. And we're like, let's just get some sleep here and we'll drive the rest of the way.
We're in such a ghetto place that the hotel parking lot is gated.
Gated, yeah. And this guy, he was wearing a Drunk Lives Matter shirt. And he came up to the window.
Yellow highlighted.
And here's the thing.
It's glowing.
I used to be homeless. I have all the love and care and understanding for homeless people. I give them money all the time. I just helped a guy out a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Made his day. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's so easy to do. You hand them money, and I fucking hate people who are like, oh, they're gonna spend it on drugs. I'm like, yeah, good.
Who cares?
Good. I fucking hope. What do you want them to do? Invest it in what? Sticks and lean. Like they're living the worst imaginable life here.
Yeah.
Fucking buy him a bag,
buy
dude.
him a bag of
Buy
happy
him
for a few
fucking
hours.
bag,
Who
dude.
fucking cares? Yeah.
If you want to see true joy, give a homeless man the money he needs for a bag and watch him pack up camp and walk down the street with a shit-eating grin on his face.
Yeah.
I know it's beautiful because I've been that guy. But anyways, he was leaning in the window on Mandy's side, which was like scary to me. I was like, come to the man's side, you know?
Right.
And he was just like, excuse me, I just got out of jail. And I was like, really? You just got out of jail in a Drunk Lives Matter shirt? He's like, I know what I did was wrong and I paid for my crime, but my son is sick and I need a bus ticket to get up to my son. But and then Jesus, and he went on for so long that we
were both just like,
we were so tired. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, just get to the part where you ask me for money. Just get to the part. And I really didn't have any money to give him.
Neither of us had any money.
If I would have had money, I would have just been like, here's some money. And also like, be out here tomorrow morning. I'm going to give you some tips on like what to say to strangers. That was the longest story ever. Just be like, hey, I want some money. Cool. Here you go.
Because I know that a lot of people, look down on people who have been in the prison system, but I went in there and I've changed my life and I've changed it for the better. And I'm like, sir, it is 2:00 in the morning and you are in the road in between a Wendy's parking lot and a hotel. You are not living your best life right now.
He saw us pull up and jogged on over. You know what I mean?
Like you're not fucking living. You're not going to convince me right now that you're doing so super great. Like you should be at your home right now. Like
it was just such a bad sales pitch, man.
Oh, it was so bad.
And we could not have had less patience because driving through Mississippi at night, the road system is dog shit, and just being like scared. I struggled to fall asleep that night because I was so afraid.
It was
of like where we were.
We walked into, so the parking lot's gated, so we couldn't get into the parking lot yet. So our car's sitting out there.
He saw us
our car's sitting out there. We walk into the hotel. There's fucking bulletproof glass at the front, and he's checking us in, and he gives us 2 bottles of water that are like, because you can't drink the water.
We're like,
and he's like, don't drink the water. Like, I felt like we were in like a prison line and a lunch line or something.
It was so weird. Yeah.
It was like really super scary.
That was the longest homeless pitch I'd ever heard in my life.
But like we had to go through all of that, and then your car blows up, and then we get to the house, and my car's covered in sticky bullshit, and our house is so fucking hot. I can't even think.
Yeah, I think we went to HEB to like walk around and cool off.
Yeah, we would go to the grocery store for some relief, which HEBs are amazing. If I have to say anything about Texas, HEB is the best.
HEB is the greatest grocery store on the face of the earth.
Ever.
Yeah.
It's the best grocery store ever.
Hello, hi. Yeah, you fucking keep walking. Yeah, that guy will forever be in my heart.
Yeah.
Like, did I kill those 2 people? Yeah, maybe I did, but I paid for my time. Anyways, I need a nickel and a hat. And you're like, God damn it, dude, go away.
I just really wish there would have been like a POV camera on our faces, because both of us are just like.
I almost started laughing because I was so tired and he wasn't getting to the point. I was like, is this guy fucking with us?
Yeah.
Is he not actually homeless? Like, what are we doing? Anyways, I love the homeless. I help them out as much as I can, but that guy sucked shit. And it was just poor timing. But that was getting back. And then, life was kind of normal for a while. Mm-hmm. I started to get better, but I did not invest my time wisely with sobriety. And
do you think like you just weren't going to meetings, or you think
I wasn't really doing much? I didn't change anything. I relapsed and then just like kind of went back to the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't dig into that too much, publicly, but I wasn't doing the things that I was supposed to be doing.
I just felt like the first one was a little bit more like closed. Like you didn't have a community around you as much.
Yeah. So the second one, Mandy went out of town. I got high. Same story. And here's the thing is I had plans that day to go to a recovery event and a meeting, and I got offered a show, and I was supposed to play basketball with Spencer. All this stuff was supposed to happen, and I got high. And
people were messaging me being like, can Ian do a show tonight? And I'm like, well,
ask him.
Yeah. Why are you asking
me?
You
were in Plano.
Yeah. I was at a festival.
Yeah. So the second one, I don't know. It was scarier because I knew so we had already
the second one was scarier because we were moving back.
So we had already locked in a lease here, and we both had jobs here back in Colorado, here where we are now.
Yeah.
That's a weird way to say that. back here where we are now today. I can't make it any more clear.
Yeah, we had both secured jobs.
were locked
and we
in.
locked into an apartment. We had the U-Pod was coming. Like we
Yep.
were moving to Colorado. We were down. We
So,
were doing it.
and then I got high and I was like, well, that's over. I'm
Yeah,
stuck here. I
and
don't know what I'm
I-
going to do, but I'm stuck here.
Yeah, and I
Like,
was
it's
like,
over.
great. I have to pay all this rent by myself.
My dear friend Reese, I love you. He'll be here in a couple weeks. He called me 1,000 times.
Yeah, he called
And in the
me too.
morning, I texted you and I got honest with you and we talked on the phone a little bit. And you're
Mhm.
like, okay, well, I didn't sleep. You're an asshole. I'm going to do these like panels. You're going to see panels of comedians telling you how to do comedy wrong or whatever. I don't know what it was.
I was going to see Jackie Cation's podcast.
Oh, that's right. That's
And
actually
I was very, very excited about it.
that was an awesome thing.
Yeah,
to
you were
say.
doing stupid stuff. Yeah,
Well,
I
one
was
of the
doing
times you
really
were telling
things
me-
I love.
One of the times you were telling me about the panels and you were like, these guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But maybe that's a different.
That was a different festival. I
Yeah.
know exactly what festival that is, and I'm not going to talk shit. But yeah.
Nobody knows what festival.
Nobody knows.
So I got honest with Mandy and but what I didn't know is there was a plan in motion
So
to come get me.
yeah, his friends were calling me and being like, you need to convince him to go to detox or whatever,
Yeah.
or recovery. And I was like, you guys don't have to convince me shit. I was like, get him in there. I'm like, no, there's no
Yeah, yeah.
convincing Mandy. Mandy's in the way. No, like
Yeah.
they're like, well, I know you guys are moving and blah blah. Blah. And I was like, if we don't move, there's no us with Ian being using. There's no us. There's no moving. There's no living.
And that's just so much pressure for one man to carry. You know what I mean? Like I got to carry all that. There's no us without me. What?
There's no
You
us.
could do stuff.
There's no
You
us.
haven't yet, but you could do
There's
stuff.
you and me. There's not you and me and meth. Like,
yeah.
there's just not. There's
What a
there's,
sitcom idea that would be. You, me, and meth.
there like, and I was talking to you about this before. Like, a relapse is a death. Like you're gone, you're done, but you're here. So it sucks even more. It's worse than a death because I know it's not a choice. I know you're not like, oh, I'd rather do this than do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's an addiction, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you chose to not be with me. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a slap in the face.
It's my drug of no choice. I'll explain powerlessness if I need to, or what this thing really looks like, but I don't feel that I need to. Anyways,
No, I'm not saying
if
that.
you want to think I'm just a shitty dude who makes bad choices, fine. That's
I'm not
at all-
saying that.
I'm not.
just saying
I'm
on
talking
my
to the
end.
camera right now. There's no us without me, and you're putting a wedge, man.
You're cruising. You are cruising.
So where we lived, on the back of a house, up these scary stairs, one person had knocked on our door and our entire time living there, which was an Amazon lady who brought us our space heater.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck she found us. No one ever found us. Our
No.
DoorDash would go. We'd have to walk around and get it. Pizza would walk around and get it.
It was a super weird
It was
spot
so
to get
hard
to
to
the
find.
apartment. Yeah.
So when I was laying in bed feeling sorry for myself, and I heard a knock on the door, it scared the fuck. Two things. One, only one person knocked on the door, and it was a fluke. I don't know how she must have been like her first week for
And
Amazon.
the stairs were scary. Like they were rickety for sure.
Yes, they were out of a Stephen King novel.
Yeah.
It was Jack Skellington's.
Yeah. They weren't OSHA compliant or
No.
whatever.
Horrifying stairs when you're sober, real hard when you're not. So one, it was hard to find our place. And two, I had been awake for a while and was really just like kind of paranoid. So hearing a knock on the door scared the shit out of me.
And I gave them specific directions exactly how to get to the
Yes,
house,
that's
I guess.
what scared. Because Chris had dropped me off before after meetings, but he dropped me off in the street. And
Right.
Reese had met me on the street, but no one ever come around. So I heard a knock on the door and I was like, Jesus Christ. What the fuck? And I thought I was like, I knew I was out of it and I thought I was like hallucinating because I looked out the peephole and I could see Chris and Reese was to the side, so I couldn't see him through the peephole. So I could see Chris, but it was Reese's voice and I was like, oh fuck, what is
Oh,
happening?
yeah.
Because Reese was talking and he was like, hey man, open up. And I opened the door and I was like, hey guys, I fucked up. And they're like, yeah, we know. And they're like, can we come in? I was like, sure. What was I going to do? And they're like, do you have any left? And I didn't because I'm a terrible bag finisher. I do some and then I feel bad.
Yeah.
I get paranoid.
Well, you were supposed to go to that meeting, right?
Yeah, there was a fun little thing happen at one of my favorite places in
Because
Austin.
that's why Reese reached out to me. Reese was like, Ian didn't show up to the meeting. Is he okay? And I said, I don't think so.
Yeah. I did not win boyfriend of the year that year.
No,
I can't. I was on pace.
I remember Reese being like, "Do you want me to go over there?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you should for sure, 100%."
Yeah.
Because I had another day at the festival.
And they babysat me,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Do you want to go to detox?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Let me rephrase that." And they were like, "We're gonna take you to detox. Let me see if I can get you a bed." So Reese was outside on the phone a lot. Chris just sat next to me, and I just laid there. And they got me a bed at a detox, and Chris took me. He's like, "We're going to a meeting," and I was like, "Dude, please don't make me go." He's like, "We're going," and I sat in that meeting and I sweated and I cried. I was just dripping sweat and crying the whole time. And then he took me back to his place. I packed up my suitcase, and they couldn't get me until the next morning, so I had to sleep the night at Chris's again. I was just like so out of it, and just like I was like, it's over. Like, this is over. I'm gonna be back in sober living alone. But like this is what happens. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And in the morning, I talked to you on the phone for a little bit, and I was trying to get you to say that everything was gonna be okay, but you would not say it, and I was just angry. And then Chris took me to detox, and I'm not a big deal in any recovery community, but I show up when I'm showing up, and I'd worked at a few treatment centers, and when I'm there, and people, if you're in any sort of community, people know you. So when he was driving me to detox, I was like, fuck, I'm gonna know somebody who works here.
Yeah.
And the second we got inside, my buddy Matt, shout out to Matt. But you met Matt at Reese's wedding, and he was really excited for us to start a podcast. So hey, Matt.
Yeah. Hey, Matt.
Matt was like, "Hey, man, what are you doing here? You here to like sponsor somebody?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's why I brought my roller suitcase." And I was like, "No, I'm here for me. I relapsed." And he was like, "You?" And I don't think he was saying it from a place of like, I was bulletproof, but I think it was just like, when you see somebody you're close with relapse, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
When like a shithead you met twice relapses, you're like, it's part of it. It's part of the disease, whatever. But like, he was like, "I'll come cut it up with you later." And he like never really came over and talked to me. Well, and he's busy. It's a busy fucking job. I didn't take it personal, but it was like, instantly walking through the door, I was just crushed. Like somebody I used to work with at Ascension House. I worked with Matt at Ascension.
Yeah.
And I was in detox for 3 days, and I was out of my mind. And
I remember that like they called me a couple of times because you let them talk to me, so like I could.
The detox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like April, I think I don't know.
No, I don't fucking remember.
I don't know. Some lady would call me and she'd like
I
give
was
me
banana town.
updates. Where my head was at that time was he's going to get out of detox and then he needs to stay in Austin and he needs to go to sober living in Austin because they have an amazing recovery community and this is where he needs to be. And I felt like a bitch for even trying to take him away from that community because I was like, I hate Austin. I don't want to live here. I want to live in Colorado. I love Colorado and I love him.
We'd signed a lease too.
We had already signed a lease. We already got the ball rolling, but I just felt, I was like, I can't force him to, I love him and I want to be with him, but like, if we can't do it, we can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was basically mourning the end of our relationship. It was over. It was done. I was like, I'm going to have to go back to Colorado by myself and live in this apartment by myself that I can't really afford, but I can try.
And so many people would say, "I told you so."
Yeah, which is fine.
So many people hated me. Blah, blah.
A lot of people were very worried about me being with you.
Anyone you told, because I used to live here, anyone you told that you were moving to Austin for me, they were like, "Can I talk to you outside for a minute?"
Yeah,
it was so much like, "Can I talk to you in private?" It was so much of that. And like, honestly, at that time, I was such a different guy that I was like, fuck them. But then like, after the second one, I felt the same way. I was like, it's over. It's done. This is going to fucking hurt.
Yeah. I was like, this is it. You did this. This is the end of it. Like we started at the beginning of COVID you let your heart get into this and now we're fucked. And this is what happens. Like I was literally just like, this is it. This is,
you know what you said, and this haunted me almost more than anything, is when you came in the house and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And you saw that I was visibly high. The first thing you said was, I'm so fucking stupid. You immediately blamed yourself. And that hurt me because you're wrong. You were wrong to say that. You didn't, you were just like, I'm so fucking stupid to come here. And I was like, no, you're not. You're not. I am.
I mean, I uprooted my whole life to move to Austin, and then it was.
I had a 5-year plan. You just got to see it through.
It was a straight up series of unfortunate events, one
Yeah.
right after the other, and it just felt like we were drowning in
Yeah.
this. And I think that too, like looking back on it now, where our priorities are and where our values are now, like they weren't in the right places. We were trying to get things and achieve things or do things that we weren't coming at it with a good heart, you know?
Yeah, it was ugly. And then thank God for codependency. Because I thought Chris was going to pick me up from detox.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, so anyone that was communicating with you guys on the outside was not telling me what was happening.
Right.
And I had like a crazy night of meth sleep. And, we had a couple meetings and groups in there and I participated. And somebody in there actually helped me a ton. I can't, even if I knew his name, I wouldn't say it. But he was like, "What happened with your relapse?" And I told him about the being sick and all this crazy shit. And he just very simply said, like, "Do you think it maybe could just be powerlessness?" Which is like a huge part of the first step and all that. And like that rocked me to my core because I realized how far I'd gotten away from like how truly simple it can be to stay sober. Like the requirements you need to meet aren't like insane.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you have to like run a marathon and you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't have to be smart to do it.
I feel like a lot of it kind of correlates with depression too. Like you just have to work on it every day. You gotta it's simple, but it's also work, you know.
It's simple but not easy.
Yeah.
Simple but not easy.
And
a price had to be paid. For my nerds out there, you know where that's from. You know what page that's on.
Well, and it's very like
simple but not
I don't know how to explain it. You have to be consistent, I guess, is the only thing. It's something you have to do every day.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. There's nowhere to land in recovery. You can't take a break. You can't pull off to the side of the road. You just have to keep going.
Yeah.
And that means through the good and the bad, which I wasn't doing. And you picked me up from detox, and and we hugged and we kissed and we started packing boxes. We're just like, we're moving to Colorado. And I remember
we talked about it a little bit, but we just
and my phone had been out for 3 days, so my former boss, the job I had when we moved here, and he knew me when I was a shithead too. So he was kind of like, he called me. He was like, "Hey, I just want to make sure everything's okay and you're still moving here." I was like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he was probably like texting me like about like how to get on the schedule and like all that stuff, and I just wasn't there.
It was literally like probably 2 months of just.
What do you mean when we first got here?
Yeah, just like, I don't know what's going to happen. I was like scared to open the door to come home. I was scared to like leave.
Yes, I always answered my phone. I answered my phone. I let you know what I was doing. We did location sharing.
We did location sharing. He shared his location.
And I just worked and went to meetings for like 6 months.
Yeah. And there was
That's like all I did.
There was a good probably 2 months there where I would text you and you wouldn't text me right back, and I would be like, location. I was like, look to see where I don't do that anymore. I don't ever.
The flaw in location sharing is that both times I got high, I was at home, so it doesn't actually help you.
Yeah, but at least I would know where you were. Yeah. It's comforting to know where you are.
We can watch each other drive home now. I can talk to you on the phone and watch you drive home. Yeah.
Location sharing got very important. It jumped up.
We still do it.
We still do it. I just never look at it anymore.
Yeah, when you were driving back from Nebraska, I was watching it.
Yeah, it was
watching you come in because the weather was bad.
The weather was really bad.
I was like, if I need to go there, I will. I don't think I won't. So we moved here, and I think the joy of the apartment we have now is the only apartment I've been on the lease in my entire life.
Yeah.
So that was the coolest feeling ever.
And the joy of like having windows we could open.
So we moved here at the end of October, and it was fall, and there's no fall in Texas.
Oh, it was beautiful.
So I remember the first day I woke up there and I could see like golden brown leaves in the sun, and it wasn't too hot, and we could go for walks and seeing them. When you see the mountains, not for the first time, but like it's just breathtaking.
Yeah. I think the mountains are just like, they're spiritual and just like the earth.
They're always magical to me.
Yeah. It's like the earth redding up. It's just, I don't know. It's really cool. But yeah, it was so fun, and like the trip was kind of fun, like the driving and stuff.
Yes.
But then it was October, so like that.
By the way, on the drive here from Austin is when I put metal in the microwave.
Yes.
On the move here, yeah.
That's what happened.
And you could buy legal weed
I bought
again.
weed. Yeah.
Yes,
I finally bought weed. I was like so excited. And like the trip was so fun, and like we had just it was a good like cleansing for us, I think.
Yes.
To where it was like we were getting out of the old and into the new.
Yeah,
and our cars were full.
And I put a lot of effort into being sober. That was still my job. And I met somebody who I can't name who absolutely changed my life. And I went through the process in a similar but different way and just fell in love with it all over again. And it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do because I'd been sober twice in the last year, and I'd had time before, and I'd worked in treatment before, and I'd helped a lot of people before. Yeah. And I'd done all, it sucks having to be vague about this stuff, but I want to, you don't know what fellowship I do. But if you had to guess, but it's not that one actually. To have another experience with the program is super hard for people to do. Tom Arnold actually in a podcast helped me. It was so crazy. I remember that. Tom Arnold on an episode of Dopey, because he relapsed like 20 years. And I was like, holy fuck. I remember trying to comfort you with being like, oh, there's a guy at the meeting tonight who relapsed with 9 years. And you were like, that doesn't make
That hurts my stomach. Like, you kept fucking saying that shit. You were like, oh, people relapse after 20 years. And I'm like, don't tell me, lie to me a little bit. Like, I'm fine with being lied to a little bit. Like, fuck.
I can't do it anymore.
I know you can't lie to me. But I was just like, it was so, I was just going to say that was the first time I realized that, like, addiction and being sober and all of that it doesn't really have to do with how much time you have or whatever. It's just like if you're doing the work or you're not.
Yeah, and it's extremely binary. It's one or the other.
Or if you're
very little middle ground.
If you are being alone, it's not good for anybody. Like if you're not reaching out to your community, if you're not texting somebody or talking to somebody, or it feels very like isolating, I guess, from looking in from the outside. I don't know. I don't have addiction, but
you got some addiction to this butt.
Them cakes.
You like these cakes? You got a problem.
I do got a problem.
You got a problem with these cakes.
I got a cake problem.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's it. Let's take a break. That's it.
Okay. How long have we been talking?
About an hour.
About an hour. Yeah. All right. Let's take a break.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, thank God. All right.
We did it.